Coach. Just similar like the last few losses. Had a chance there in the end. I mean, how much more tougher just to see each one of these get.
It's hard, no question. Kids are working their tails off every week, keep getting up off the mat and keep showing up to work or being positive. But it hurts because we are in position to win games. You're looking for excuses. We're not saying, what we have, what we don't have. The bottom line is that we have opportunities to win with the guys that we have, and they're there. Just so unfortunate that, we didn't have a chance to at least kick in overtime, and it definitely hurts because, we put a lot of work into it. Now we just have to get over the emotional side and be really hard and honest about ourselves. We didn't make enough plays to win the game. I mean, that plain and simple. We had opportunities to do it, to affect the outcome, but it just didn't happen that way. So it's the same story.
Just defensive effort, forced 3 turnovers, a lot of fumbles, just what did you like just most about, that effort? Obviously it was a cold night and a lot of fumbles and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they gave us an opportunity offensively to do it, called complementary football. We just didn't take advantage on some of those turnovers. We talked about it all week. We hadn't had a turnover in quite some time. But the bottom line is here it is, late November. We're on not in a good place in terms of we're trying to win games. We're on a 4 or 5 game losing streak. And we're still playing hard. Typically on a night like this, and I've been on teams where you just go out there and go through the motions. But the fact that we continue to show up, we continue to work, they're still playing hard to win, that's going to pay off. The ball's going to bounce our way. We're going to figure it out. The winter is coming, so we have a chance in the offseason to get to that next phase, but we have to continue to grow and learn, and that's the hard lessons that we have to go through.
4 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties tonight.
Yeah.
Penalties once again hurt. Is there a message that's
self-discipline,
maybe not getting through, or
self-discipline, and it's the little things, those are selfish penalties. And clearly I'm not doing a good enough job of expressing that because that hurts. You got to have composure. You got to be poised in those situations. And a lot of that is youth. And it hurts the team. Puts people in, you put a team. You can't afford to have penalties like that in those situations, given where we are as a team. Everything counts. And that's a teachable moment that we're going to have to continue to learn, and those guys can't be in there when we be in those plays. So, in those situations. So we got to figure that out. But that will be corrected sooner than later.
Coach Carter Leonard, Falcon Media Sports Network. Austin Dendy, another 100-plus yard rushing night. Just talk a little bit about his performance and how he did tonight.
Yeah, big guy, he's running. We have to lean on him. Right now until we can try to find balance offensively until Hunter settles in as a quarterback for us. And our run game, it's our offensive line and the tight ends. They made plays, and we knew we had to come in and establish the run. We did just that. I wish we could have helped out more in the passing game. With that, if we can just make plays consistently, with and all of that, can really help everybody. But again, Austin has been our workhorse right now, and we're kind of leaning on him to generate offense and generate first downs and to get the offense going.
And back on the defensive side, Akron, despite the record, they have a few solid players on their offense. Jordan Gant being one of them, one of the leading rushers in the MAC. You guys were able to really contain him well in the first half. Just talk about, when it comes down to like film study, meetings, just trying to contain a player of that caliber.
Well, we knew we had to stop the run first, and it all starts up front. We knew that the interior defensive line had to have a big night to create pressure and be disruptive in the run game to neutralize Jordan. I know Jordan very well. I've coached him at Tennessee State. And the kind of style of runner that he is, and we all know, we know what he does well, what he doesn't do well, and it was very important for us to get to him before he gets going, not give him any space, because when he gets space, he can make people miss. He has a knack for that. So that's what we noticed. Felt like we did a good job of that for the most part. And just in the passing game, we just gave up that big touchdown after we scored a touchdown, and we just couldn't muster up enough offense to put us in the position to score again. So lesson learned.
Couple of positives too in the special teams, Coach. I saw Jackson kind of mix in a little bit, punting.
Yep.
Did his usual with field goals, but a couple nice returns as well. What were your thoughts on the special teams?
Yeah,
side?
special teams, they gave us a chance. They flipped the field for us. We knew they were going to do some form of sky punts. We saw that all week long. So Alex Baer did a phenomenal job of putting a game plan together to take advantage of those opportunities. And Jackson, we go for a 60-yard kick. I figure that he's one of the best kickers in the country, and why not go for it? He felt like he can get it and shot for it, didn't get it. But I think the defense did a good job of holding them to 3. So for the most part, we are showing signs of playing together, finding a complementary football. Now we just have to make the plays and execute at the end and have the self-discipline, like we've talked about, not to get those penalties in those situations.
Coach, that you guys scored that touchdown with Jacob Harris, and then immediately after you gave that big touchdown to Israel Pork. Just beyond giving up the touchdown, how much do you think that one hurt the momentum for you guys, moving forward throughout the game? It hurt
the momentum, but it was still a lot of game left. It didn't discourage us to the point where we gave up. I felt like, okay, there's still enough time to muster up a drive or two to score a touchdown, and we had that opportunity. Right before, I think the score was 19-13. And we're driving, and I'm thinking, okay, we still have enough time to I don't want to necessarily go for it here. We can kick a field goal, get the points, and then get the stop in 4 minutes, which worked. And we had a great field position, and we were in field goal range. So we gave ourselves a chance to either tie it or possibly win it, and we're trying to win it in the end, And that feels good that we're been riddled with injuries, but the makeup of this team for the long term is that we're resilient and we're still going to fight, and we're fighting to the end. We're finding ways to be in games at the end.
Coach Caleb Spinner, BCSN. Gideon was a highlight on defense. 7 solo tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss. It seemed like every time you guys needed momentum, he was there for it. How did you feel about his performance tonight?
Gideon is, I believe he's all-conference linebacker. He's All-American in my eyes. He's been the heart and soul of this defense ever since Dorian Pringle went down with an injury. And he just plays hard. He knows the defense really well. He's settling in as the Mike backer, making all the calls. And it's the game is slowed down for him, and he's able to make plays for us, and he's done a phenomenal job against an offense that put up over almost 500 yards last week against Kent State. And we knew the challenge that we had coming in here, and the defense definitely did a great job of giving us a chance to win.
One of the motifs of this game was momentum swings, and there was a stretch there at the end where you guys had a few big plays that ended up being called back on review. Not arguing right or wrong, but what did you see in those moments, and what does that do when you're trying to build something up?
Which plays were that?
They keep getting wiping off. There was one that was an interception that got called back, and another one where the runner was ruled down before the ball came out.
Okay. You mean the first half?
Yeah.
Or the second half?
Yeah.
Okay. That happens, and we can't get caught into. It's momentum shifts, but we talk about handling hard better, and it didn't go our way. Okay, next play, and we can't worry about the penalties. We got to overcome them. It happened in that moment, so we have to find a way to be mentally tough enough to refocus and win the next play, and not get caught into that. So. we had our opportunities. We had the ball. We picked it off. We got fumbles. We created those opportunities. So, it goes both ways. And how you handle both good and bad momentum shifts is staying even kill and not getting emotional, not getting too low when something bad happens, and not getting too high. But maintaining that focus is about the next play and winning the next play and being present. And that's what we talked about last week, is the habit of being present. And that's what this team is learning. We've learned. And at some point, it's going to shift our way. The ball's going to bounce our way. The time's not going to run out. So we're going to learn how to win these types of ball games. And this is where we are right now. And we have to embrace that, lean into it, and try to finish off the season strong, which we're going to do. We're going to put together a game plan next week for Massachusetts and go up there, try to get a victory, finish off the season strong, and roll into the off season with some sense of urgency and go pound the pavement, raise some money and talk about the future and the vision for moving forward.
MJ, obviously you guys are right in these games during this losing streak, but I mean, how tough is it just trying to, come out on top, and just kind of how tough is, just another close game like this?
It's hard to win games in college football, no matter where you are, what conference you play in. And, we talk about it in practice, and right before the games, we just go out there and give all we got, leave everything on the field, and the outcome will take care of itself. Obviously, this outcome didn't go our way this game.
Defensive effort, you guys forced several turnovers, a lot of fumbles. Just obviously you guys really were in a good position there. What really worked well for you guys defensively, especially with, forcing those turnovers?
We harp on turnovers week in and week out. We do ball security drills every day in practice. So this game just showed that work that we do in practice has paid off.
MJ, another solid defensive night for you guys. When Coach came in here, we talked a little bit about Gideon Lampron, his performance. He called him the heart and soul of this defense ever since Dorian went out. Another good night for him. Just talk a little bit about, seeing one of your defensive teammates continuing to thrive as this season has been up and down, to say the least.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that dude. He puts in so much work, and for him to take on that responsibility after Dorian went down, he took it like a champion. He been commanding the defense ever since. You know what I'm saying? So I seen all the work he put in, and it's paid off. You can see it in his play, and he works his tail off.
Jacob, kind of another similar feeling with another close loss, I guess. Just what's the message, and how do you guys, just try to respond, with 1 week left in the season next week?
Really, the focus at this point is finishing strong. We got a lot of seniors, guys that stuck around when they could have, jumped ship when we had the new staff moving in. And so it's important for us to be able to, do everything we can to send those guys out on a good note.
Your touchdown, obviously, heck of a catch on that sideline. Kind of take us through that and just the emotions, when it was overturned and everything. Obviously, that was such a big play for you guys in the game.
As the touchdown, it was concerning because they took it away at first, but I was just out there yelling for him to review it. I knew I had my knee down before I slid out of there. But the first one on the sideline, I really felt like he might have been trying to throw it away. But, I turned my head and the ball was right there. I'm like, I could get that. So, I just try to make the plays when they come to me. Nothing necessarily like game-breaking or anything, just trying to do my job the best I can.
Just kind of expanding on that, some of these touchdown catches you've had this season, the one-handers, that play today, how have you really just kind of developed, just the receiving aspect? Obviously you did a lot in high school, but just how have you even been able to take your game to another level in that regard?
From early on, we felt like my catching ability has been something that has been a big strength of mine, and so me and my dad developed it. When I was in high school, he challenged me to have the best hands in the state, and then take it further to have the best hands in the country. So anytime the ball is thrown my way, we expect to come down with it. And so, when you have that expectation, you make a lot more than you would if you are unsure about it.
Jacob, obviously, tough way to end it. Najum with that last pick. What is your message to him, as, your guys' QB?
Yeah, I came up to him right after they was done with the alma mater, just letting him know, like, he's young, he's got time, he's going to be a great player, he's an exceptional leader, a guy that you want on your team, 100%. And I let him know that we still trust him. These things are going to happen. You can't succeed without failure. It's something that Levi Gazaric was saying to him in the locker room, just making sure we're building him up as he continues to grow into a great player.
Jacob, I mean, obviously you guys have had a really tough season with a lot of the injuries. I mean, what does it say about your group of guys in the locker room that you guys still go out there every night and compete, even though the season is pretty much over at this point?
Yeah, that's just the culture that we've developed here. I mean, we've worked too hard to give up now at this point. I mean, there's no use in just laying down and giving up on the rest of the season. We could still send these guys out on a victory, and there's no reason not to give it everything we have every night.